Good evening.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is LaVonda Johnson. I am here in Birmingham, Alabama, and we had a lot of sunshine today, so I'm not so jealous of all that sunshine that Dr. Nicole has in Florida. So I'm good here in Birmingham this week. What about you?
Awesome.
Me, I'm Kimberly Shinabert coming from Northern Virginia. I too had that good sunshine weather here in the Northern Virginia. I just said that. Unfortunately, I was under the weather, so I didn't get to enjoy it. So that sucks.
Well, at least it wasn't cold making you feel worse. So, and hello everyone. I am Dr. Nicole and I am in sunny Florida. However, I hear thunder outside, so probably not for long. And so we have an amazing, let me tell you, you think you know about money, but let me tell you, you don't. And I didn't either. And I'm still learning. And we're going to show you and share with you with Wall Street Trapper. So stay tuned.
Will's got the heat.
And I just kept learning because the shit remind me of the streets so much. Even when you look at America, America is just one gangster. Canada is one gangster. China is a gangster. It's different hoods. It's different people trying to take this bitch over. It's the same thing in the street. I'm trying to go to your hood and do this. If Bank got a hood, I'm trying to come off a little bit up. If I ain't strong enough, I got to pay Bank draft. That's the same thing happening in America. If you want to sell some shit over here, you got to pay me a tariff. That's draft.
Right.
I'm in a cell with this dude, white guy. And he was just like, I guess that was his first time seeing like that many black people at one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and really and truly, like you think that should be normal, but he was like, man, y'all playing the wrong game, man. Like, and like at first that it like caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, cause all we know is the game. That's all we know. You know what I'm saying? I stopped going to school at 16. Like, all I know is the game. And so I was just like, well, if it's the wrong game, then why the hell you ain't here with me? Like, what game you playing? Right? Evidently, you playing the same game I'm playing. But he was like, nah. He was like, so what you in here for? So, like, in New Orleans, so if you have a red band, like, your band tell you what you in jail for. So I had a red band, which means attempt murder,
Like a violent
robbery,
crime.
yeah, kidnapping. So, like, if you got an orange band, that means you on a drug charge, unless you got $1 million bond. So then you'll get a red band. Or if you're in the feds, you'll get a red and white band. So he had a red and white band. So kind of like when you're in the state jail, if you're looking at somebody with a red and white band, you kind of be like, damn, like he knows some shit I don't know. Like federal shit, like a hierarchy or some shit. You know
that means
saying?
you're important.
Yeah, like damn, like what you know. So I saw the band. So he was just like, you in here for attempt murder on robbery, you looking at 0 to 99. He was like, I'm in here for embezzlement. He embezzled $2.8 million, paid $800,000 restitution, kept $2 million, did 18 months.
They let him keep the $2 million?
He kept it. That's just how it it works on a point system. And the guy said,
In a scale,
I was
in
like,
the fed.
damn. So that kind of like took my head, like damn, like, well, let me learn how to play that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me play that because I don't need to be. I'm hustling backwards. If that's what you got going on, you know what I'm saying? So during that time period, we was in a hole for like maybe 45 days together. And so he just started talking to me about financial literacy, like telling me how like you hustling, you selling dope, you robbing, you jacking. Like that shit is pennies. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then in my mind, I'm like, damn, I'm 16. I ain't never really truly met a successful hustler. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all of us gonna end up to the same fate. Like you gonna go to jail.
Awesome. So I love this listening to this guy so much. You know, don't be fooled by his street talk because he is crazy intelligent. And so what do you guys think about I know we all listen to like the whole thing and it really goes into way more depth than what we just saw. But I love it where he's getting that education. And one of the things that wasn't in this interview, but an interview with Tom Ballou, is that he said it's not about color. The money is not about color. You just don't know what the game is. And you got to learn the game. And no, they're not going to tell you the game. But if you find out the game, then you can then you can play the game and play the legal game. And this is what he's talking about, getting from the illegal game and realizing that the principles that you're practicing, the business principles, are actually the same. So that's what he's pointing out about the different countries. You know, this is the gangster over here, this gangster over here, US, Canada, you know, Russia. But we don't refer to them as that. But the business and how you run business is the same. And so I really, really appreciate him. And he has that, you know, I forget, what is it, Trapper Anonymous, where he's teaching about investing by, you know, using regular language, whatever his folks language use, whatever their experience is, he's using their experience to explain to them how to invest in businesses, how to invest in stocks, how to buy businesses and that type of thing, and make money work for you. And so, you know, hey, what do you guys think about this?
I thought it was interesting that he said, you know, all I know is game. Is all we know is game. And by we, I'm guessing he means his own community or the African American community. But as you point out, he makes it clear that race has nothing to do with it. It's just the fact we all acknowledge that there's a game we play, but we playing the wrong game. I don't know how many times since we've seen that original video with him saying that I've said that to people when they talk about finances or different decisions that they're making. We're playing the wrong game. We have to become more financially literate in order to advance in society. We are so far behind. I read an article today that says that only 34% of African Americans own stock, which I think that's important. That's distinctive in terms of cultural differences, because 61% of whites own stocks. I know in my household, we didn't know about stocks or financial literacy. You know, we were just making it from one paycheck to another. So that part of it is a cultural issue. I mean, playing the game is not something that that we can't play. We're all playing a game, but when it comes to our knowledge and how to make decisions that are gonna propel us forward and definitely create generational wealth, we're playing the wrong game. We're not educating ourselves. We're not educating our families and passing that information down. And then also, where do you go to get that information? Like you can research it, but you gotta even be aware of it to research it and find out about it. So there's even, lack of communication or discussion about it in your household. I know for me, it wasn't something that was discussed in my household when I was growing up. We didn't talk about stocks or owning a 401k or even retirement. We were just trying to get through the day to day. So now it's up to us and those of us who are aware to help pass that down to the next generation.
Yeah, I totally agree. I myself didn't grow up with financial literacy at all in my household. So it wasn't until I got into network marketing when I even knew what to do with money once you get it. So, and that took me actually finding a mentor, and my mentor being on that money game and teaching me how to, do that, and the people to also look at. And when he put all those, people in, what, now that I'm just listening to myself, sidebar, my mentor has me watching him speak and stop saying, so, and here I am saying, just caught myself about 4 or 5 times. Sorry, sidebar, I had to come out. But my mentor put me on certain people, and all these people were Caucasian. And all these people were talking about how they took money, invested it here, didn't really save more than 10% for themselves, put it here, put it here, put it here, and had multiple streams coming in. And I knew nothing about any of that until I got with my mentor in network marketing. So yeah, I think our community really needs a hardcore life lesson on financial literacy. And like he was saying, it took for him to talk to somebody in the hole for 45 days.
And that's something.
Who was in there for embezzlement, federal embezzlement. What you doing? What you learned that I didn't learn, because I'm a drug dealer out here doing petty robbery. You out here embezzling money. What do you say? He embezzled, like, I forgot the exact number, but he was able,
2.8 million.
and was
2.8
able
million.
to keep the 2 million. The 2 million. He was able to keep that off a
Mhm.
federal charge.
Mhm.
2 million.
Right.
And only
Mhm.
serving the 18 months.
All of that.
All of that. Not to say we should go into life of crime and embezzle. That is what we're not saying. However, that person just knew more about financial literacy than we did. So it is definitely something that our community especially really needs to hone in on. And at an early age, I'm starting with my 10-year-old, teaching her how to, okay, you got $300 for your birthday. We gonna take 30, put it over here. You have a t-shirt business, a pillow business. You need some more material. This is how we're gonna bring that money back.
Right.
Things like that.
Right.
So I just think, like Lavonda was saying, in our community, we really need to learn and teach. Once we get that knowledge, we really got to teach our children.
Right. Absolutely, and start them young for sure. And so, Wall Street Trapper actually said it's his 6-year-old picked out what she wanted for her birthday and actually made him up the ante on how much of the stock to get. He's just gonna do like in the teens, and she said 100. And so that's phenomenal. I think that's something that he talks about further into the interview, and we'll definitely make this interview available to you all, because it's really, if you can get past all the profanity, just block that out. He is, I mean, just dropping some major nuggets. He talked about mindset a lot, and our conditioning and our programming, and how we learn to be afraid of doing something like this, maybe because we don't see people as much that look like us, investing and buying stocks and what have you. But we have to get past that, because money's about money. Money's about legacy, about what we're going to leave for our families. And so we have to be willing to learn. And that's where he comes in, because he's trying to meet people where they are and teach them how to do these things their way, through what they know. And I think that that's pretty phenomenal. But at the same time, we have to remove those blinders and stop being fearful of what we don't know, realizing that it can make a huge impact in our life. And one of the major things that he said was not to get caught up that you see Joe Blow making $3 million over there and thinking that you're going to take your $50 right now today and make $3 million, but that whatever you multiply it to is going to be way better than you just being left with $50, or just putting your $50 in the bank and allowing the bank to pay you little pennies on the dollar. As the dollar depreciates and as inflation rises, you're losing money. You're losing money going to work.
Yep.
You paying to go to work. You need to invest in those things that you're using. We talked about whatever sneakers they wear and what have you, that you own part of the company. So now, yeah, go ahead and buy them. But instead, we are major consumers and we're not owners. And that's where the ownership is super, super important. So I know we are learning. Yes, our mentor is teaching us, even having our business that, that we have is, ownership of that and what you need to do to make that grow and creating passive and residual income. We have to stop being afraid of that. Yes, it's going to be a risk and you're not always going to win, but in the long haul, you are going to win if you keep learning and keep doing more things to let your money work for you, right? And then add value to people, which is share the information, all this information we're learning, mindset and about money and about growing our businesses and all of that. I think that that's pretty phenomenal. I mean, that interview, I love that interview. I have to go back and listen again because he dropped so many major nuggets.
He did. And like you said, it all boils down to mindset. Just the thought that buying a purse, even for me shopping, I saw that as something worth spending my money on. I still do. I still have to work on it. And it's okay to spend money on, clothing and things like that. But I've kind of switched that mindset towards investing. Like you said, owning the things that I purchase a lot. If I'm not mistaken, I read that African Americans are the number one consumers So we're the biggest buyers, but then we're not investing the money that, back into our community or in a way that's going to produce more income. Like you said, make your money work for you. So instead of seeing stocks or investments as losses, because like you said, you're going to lose some, it's risky. But a pair of shoes, I mean, even though you wear them, that's not an investment. A car is not an investment. And so it's a big change in mindset, but it can be done. But in the earlier, in my opinion, you start, the better. I've actually started talking to, my family members, the ones that have children, thinking about what Kim said in terms of the birthdays and all that. Hey, if you got $50, let's invest that $50 in a mutual fund, or a savings bond, and just build on that every year. Every year, instead of me giving you $50 to go towards, a toy, something like that, I'm going to put $50 towards your savings bond. And then when you're 18, 20 years old, going to college or what have you, you'll have that money. How much more of an investment would that be versus spending money on a one-time event, a birthday? Yeah, big milestone birthday is great. And to each his own, but I'm just thinking of things that we can do to change the mindset around money and making our money work for us. Because like you said, inflation doesn't stop. So by the time you earn a paycheck, you're already behind the 8 ball anyway. And I love that he said hustling backwards. That's what we're doing. We're just digging a hole further and further for ourselves. So I definitely think that the more we learn, the more we should educate. That's that part about mentorship that we talk about so much. And mentorship, I used to think, I had to be at a school or at some big foundation speaking to hundreds of people to have an influence, but you can make an influence or impact right within your own family or in your house. And that's what I was saying about the children that are in my family, just one-on-one. Each one teach one. If you change the mindset of just one individual, then they'll be able to have that knowledge and pass it on, hopefully. And that way we can get a little bit further ahead and help each other. It's all about, we want to help the African American community as well, but the better we are, the better society is as a whole, because we all need and depend on each other, whether we want to realize and accept that or not.
That's good stuff.
That is real good stuff. And just to piggyback on here I go. Just to piggyback on the buying purses, movies. For me, I'm a big movie buff. So I would buy, since I'm watching all these movies, I might as well, like you said, be ownership of the movies I'm watching. So I started to buy stocks in good old AMC and Regal Cinemas and Disney. I better be part of owner of Disney as much as I watched all day movies with my kids, buying the Disney products and all those other things. So it made so much sense when he broke it down like that, like with African Americans being the number one consumers. We buy Jordans. Why aren't you having stock in Nike? Like, what's going on with that? Michael Kors, Louis Vuitton, whoever you keep buying all this stuff from, be part owner of it. Put your money back to what you're buying. It only makes sense. That's what other cultures do. That's what they learn. That's what they know. So we should definitely have that same literacy as well. So I definitely agree with all of that. And it is a great interview. And he really breaks down what we should do, how easy it is to do it. Well, it's simple. Of course, you got to have the right mindset to, really follow through with it, because it is a scary venture. If you're taking risk, it's a gamble. It is a gamble. Watch your money go up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yes.
But you got to take those risks. You got to take those gambles. Otherwise, you're never going to be successful. You're never going to learn anything. So that's how I felt about that interview. It was really good.
Yeah, it's super, super good. I so growing up, so I don't remember my mom talking about investments or stocks, but I do remember I had a boyfriend, and his mom used to buy I think it was AT&T or Bell South, whichever one was big then. It's a long time ago. What can I tell you? Anyway, so and he used to talk about that all the time, and she talked about it. But what I realized is that she understood the concept, but I don't think she translated it to him, because he certainly did not take advantage of it. All he had planned on doing was living off of what was generated from it. he wasn't talking about buying more. He wasn't passing that information on to his younger sister, his younger brother, and how important it was. So I think we have to be careful. Yes, we take care of ourselves first and make sure we educate ourselves. But then, even in doing that for the youth, we need to make sure that they understand they need to continue it, that someone's not going to always be doing it for them, that they have to pick up the mantle. And then otherwise, there is no legacy. There's no legacy if we don't keep passing it on. And so that's something that just popped into my head. I was like, he didn't learn how to do that. Like, I don't even know if he just knew that she was collecting dividends at a certain time and he was just happy living off that money.
Wow.
Yeah, but he wasn't buying any. And so that's, anyway, I ended up dumping him because he
Yeah.
didn't have enough
Good.
ambition. So anyway,
Good decision.
that's a whole other story. So,
Good decision.
but you know, he Wall Street Trapper, what can I he was talking some other stuff that he talked about. I just think those were really good questions that the interviewers were asking him. You know, why don't we do that? And we have to be sensitive to that, because just because we understand that we've done a lot of work, the three of us, just as other people that we're around, we've done a lot of work, and other people are not going to be in the same place as us. It doesn't mean that we're smarter. It doesn't mean that we're better. It just means that we've put in more work on learning those things. And of course, we still have lots to learn. But what's going to be great, and what's already great, is how our business, right, is cultivating that. So we get training and some speakers talking about financial literacy and planning your goals and what have you. And also we have crypto coming. So, and of course, that's going to be a big thing as far as investing and you know, taking risk and what have you. But like the book, The Psychology of Money, says, you have to take some risk if you're planning on success. Like, there's no way, all of it's a risk, you know, to start a business, to invest. And you have to be willing to do that, because without the risk, there is no major success. You can't make a significant headway, because that's who gets paid the big bucks, the people that take the bigger risk, right? And so we have to change how we think about that and realize that most of the time, especially if you're in it for the long game, which is what you should do when you're investing, then, you know, things are going to go up and down, but they have traditionally, as they go up and down, it's slowly going up, and the up and down gets higher and higher rather than it being a straight line. And I don't think that you have to understand it fully in order to get started. So just start doing some learning, you know, start reading some books on money and investing, start listening to some people like Wall Street Trapper. I mean, you can just go on YouTube and pull up a whole bunch of stuff that he talks about, and you don't even have to pay a dime on that. And some things you can start with $10. You know, start where you are. I think that that's the other thing. Again, that whole comparison and thinking that we have to have a boatload of money in order to start. I know I was guilty of that from young, you know, earlier years, thinking about that. Oh, well, I need, you know, at least this much. Well, no, not really. You can always add to it. And as you're growing your money, then you have more to actually invest. So I don't know that we always think about that, but that is critical. You know, coming out of listening, don't listen to this guy and then don't go do something else. Like, find some more information or look at what you could possibly invest in. Don't, if you're not going to do anything then just don't even bother to listen to the rest of the interview because that's what it's about, is about mobilizing us to get some momentum moving in that direction. So like I said, I loved the interview. Loved it.
It was such a great interview. But like you said, if you don't feel like you don't need to know everything to get started. And me, I was guilty of feeling like you said, that I needed a bag full of money to get started just not too long ago, 3-4 years ago. And so now, like I was saying, when I think about the extra money that I have, whether it's $25 or $10, instead of going and say, hey, you know, I'd like a new shirt, I'll go purchase, you know, some kind of stock or crypto or something like that. But everything starts with a seed, and good communication. That's the other thing. I love when I see people who actually communicate with their children what they're doing. I know Kim does a great job with that. You know, with Taylor and doing the things that she's doing. She's doing that because her mother is talking to her about that. Bless you. You know, she takes her around with her to different events and different things that she's doing. So a lot of times we do things, you know, without including our children, but children are very smart. Most of the time they're interested in whatever you're interested in. They want to be close up under you. So you can take advantage of that time to talk to them about stocks and things like that. And you know, it takes more than one exposure, as we know, for them to pick up on it. But I don't see how anybody can listen to Wall Street Trapper and not start buying something. I mean, every time I purchase anything, I think about watching that video. But like you said, I do have to remember that I'm not starting from where someone else might be starting. But it's hard to listen to him when you listen to where he came from. I mean, he was in prison for a while. I'm not sure how long he was in prison, but that's when that's when he started to educate himself. That's what he's saying. When he ran across that person, and then when he got out, he started implementing all the things that he learned. But if he can do it, so can we. You know, a risk is always going to be involved, but just make an informed decision, as with anything else. Just study on it and learn and start small. But it's not an excuse not to start, because the longer you wait to start, the further behind we'll be.
And we are definitely not saying go get incarcerated so that you can learn what you
right.
Yeah,
that's not the message.
That's not the way. That's not the
way. But just to piggyback again off of Lavonda, with my children, as I was learning what to do with investments in stocks and crypto, which is still a work in progress, what I had to stop doing was watching my money. Because I'd watch, and this, and I was like, hold up now. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. But I ended up buying, I'll say both of my children. I have 3 high school graduates. So excited. My 2 daughters, I bought them money books. Things you can do as a teen to invest in money and to earn money, and things you can do as a child. I read those books before giving it to them, and I learned so much. those little kids books on what to do with investing in stocks and what in little businesses you can start to bring in money where you don't have to go in your parents' pockets, how to flip your allowance. I was like, oh. And from those, that's when they started their own t-shirt and pillow companies, things of that nature. So what we're saying is, again, don't get incarcerated to find information. You can get little kids books that'll teach you how to invest your money and business ideas. There's just so much information, so many resources out there. Because I know when I first heard the Wall Street Trapper, I was like, what are you talking about? Because he goes straight to talking about stocks. And I was like, this is legal jargon to me. I don't understand none of this. So again, just define, there's so much out there. If it gets to a point where you're like, there are kids' books, don't be ashamed. I'm 41. I read them books. It totally understood, and then went back and listened to him and talked to my mentor and got more informative on financial literacy.
That's good stuff. And I think Lewis Fields, one of our friends, where he talks about you can be at a childlike level at certain things. And so, don't be embarrassed to start there to get the foundation, because if you don't create a strong enough foundation, you're not going to understand. And then your risk actually is higher because you don't have enough information. And we're not financial advisors. So definitely, we are learning along with so I'm not telling you what to go invest in. You find somebody to lean on. And I actually have another friend that is mentoring me in the field of crypto and stocks and what have you. So now taking me to that next level. And she's saying the same thing. She's like, all you just need a little bit, this is what I do each month, put this into this account. And then, these are the ones I've been watching and stuff like that. And she's like, you don't have to do the same ones that I'm doing, but these are the reasons why I chose these. And so having that so that you can fill your gaps and create that that foundation about understanding. I'm loving that, because I'm at a time now where now I'm receptive and I can take that information and take it higher than what I knew about stocks and investing before. You know, and even when I was doing my 401k, did I understand everything? No. What I did know when I was putting it, what I did make them figure out is how do I take the same money home and put money into my 401k because it's pre-tax dollars. How do I do that? So I figured that out. Had them figure that out. I said, do the math for me because that's what I want to happen. I didn't have to understand everything about it, but that was one of my goals. Like, how do I take home my net pay and still be able to put in? And there's a way to do that. Now, 401k is not necessarily the best place to put your money, but anyway, I'm not a financial advisor.
Right.
But you know, there are lots of things to consider. And certainly, like I said, we will drop the video in on, I guess, on Facebook, because you can already watch this and just go to YouTube. You're on YouTube. You should be on our YouTube channel, by the way, on Serendipity. I kind of forced y'all to have to do that the way I fed you the information. So hopefully most of you are on YouTube. But we thank you. Do you guys have any you know, closing remarks, thoughts?
I do. There's also for my stock information, I also follow Serena Williams' husband. Oh, he's good. He real good. Can't remember his name. Well, I do. I just can't pronounce it. Sorry.
Okay.
I can't, starts with a O, but I can't pronounce it. He's a really good person to follow on Instagram, and we'll put that stuff in the description on YouTube. Him, Wall Street Trapper, they're really good people, and they make it very simple, very plain. He really actually breaks down, like your financial advisor does, breaks down which stocks are the best to invest in and why. So that's my closing statement.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would just say there's plenty of literature out there, websites. One of the things I started doing was watching Bloomberg, and just like with the Wall Street Trapper, or Trap as they call them, a lot of stuff they're talking about I'm not familiar with, but I'm watching TV, I'm watching it, it's playing in the background, so I'm picking up on different language that they're using. So the more I expose myself to it, the better I get. So just start somewhere, start reading something. Kim just gave you somebody that you can follow. You can also go to the library and research it. There's also a website for crypto that I use. It's called Coinbase. It's fairly user-friendly for me. I actually joined it and didn't buy any crypto for a while. So I just kind of look at it and watch what other people do on it. But one thing that I love about the Coinbase app, it also has educational material on there, like every week, or I don't know how often they do it. I just go on there when I have time and read whatever literature that they put out. If there's something big happening with the stock market, with stocks that week, they usually have an article or some information that'll direct you to a website to further research it. So I do love that. So that's another option for people who are interested in crypto.
Yeah, and I actually have Coinbase myself. I've had it for a little while. Serena Williams' husband, he also breaks down Coinbase as well. So
good.
Awesome. So the biggest lesson that I have to share is you got to figure out a way to make some money that you don't have to work for every moment. So you can check us out about our business, because our businesses are exactly that, in creating residual and passive income. And then once you make money in business with us, then you can put it someplace, learn where to put it, where to invest it, where to buy stocks. Okay. So, all right. So as always, ladies, it has been a pleasure. Thank you everyone for joining us for Serendipity. And again, we'll be back next week with another amazing topic. Bye-bye.
Good night.